All right, guys, welcome to part 2 of the Industrial Revolution lecture. All right, so we're going to start off on economics. So we're going to get right into it. So the Industrial Revolution led to systems of modern economics. What is economics? You've heard of the term our economy, right? It's all the systems of production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, right? So look at the factors of production. When you make a product or produce something, you need land, labor, capital. Capital is like factories, technology, machines, tools, stuff like that. All the things that you can own to help you efficiently produce something. And then enterprise, like innovation, coming up with new ideas, research, stuff like that. These are all the systems of production. Distribution is how does it get to the consumer, right? And consumption is oops, sorry guys about this subscription thing. It's just the buying and using of goods and services. So that's what our economy is. That is what economics is. And there are two systems of modern economics we're going to look at. First, of course, you got capitalism. Sorry, my dog is drinking and she's So Adam Smith, he wrote the book Wealth of Nations in 1776, and he defines modern capitalism. He's the father of modern capitalism. Goober. All means of production and property are run and owned by private citizens, not the government. So we live in a capitalist free market society, right? If you can profit off it, you're going to make a company or you're going to start a firm and you're going to sell a product. And so if you look all around you, we have Walmarts, we have restaurants, we have family owned businesses. This is what capitalism is. He famously said, "It is not out of charity that you get your dinner from the butcher or baker. It is provided from their own self-interest. They intend only for their own gain, led by this invisible hand, which is to the benefit of all." So what is this invisible hand? Well, he kind of says it up on top. It is provided from their own self-interest, right? So the invisible hand is about competition and self-interest. These are what is at the heart of capitalism. Competition being like, if I am going to do a food delivery app, okay, or I want to create like a food delivery service, well, I have a lot of freaking competition. I got Uber Eats, I got Postmates, I got DoorDash, there's so many other ones, right? So I have to try to convince others to join my app instead, right? Why I'm better than them. So the competition lowers prices, okay? It makes products better because I have to prove that my company is the one you should use. So I might be more innovative and more efficient of how I provide that service. Okay, so competition is really, really important. And then self-interest. I want to make as much money as possible, right? So I'm going to do whatever I can for my company, for the customer, to make their money. Okay, so all these things acts as that invisible hand that regulates this idea of this free market. So capitalism is based on a laissez-faire. Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of that term, but it basically is a French term for hands-off. Okay, and so capitalism is based on a laissez-faire government philosophy. So let the economy run itself, right? People are rational human beings, and the government doesn't need to tell them or own everything or tell them how to do or live their lives. Okay, so the economy should be run by just people. Today, while there are varying degrees of capitalism, it is the dominant economic system practiced across the globe. So as you guys can see in the chair, the government is the father, he's passed out. Economy Joe is capitalist economy or the free market. He's like, awesome, now I can do whatever I want. Yeah, boy, get it. So if you're still confused, here's a good explanation of capitalism using the two cow scenario. So you have two cows. You sell one and buy a bull. Okay, a bull is the male, right? So now you have a female and a male. Your herd multiplies and the economy grows. You sell them and retire on the income. That's capitalism. Socialism is the second economic system or modern economic system. By the mid 1800s, socialism was embraced by the working class people. It developed as a response to the negative effects of the Industrial Revolution and unregulated capitalism. Socialism is the complete opposite of capitalism. Okay, governments should control the economy and redistribute wealth through social welfare programs. So it's this idea of everybody's working, everybody still has the same jobs, but you don't get to keep it. It all goes to the government and then they give it to you equally, everybody equally. So 2 cows for socialism. You have 2 cows, the state takes both and gives you milk. So the government owns all means of production, okay, and land, and all the money they make, they hand it out to every single person equally, the same amount, and then they can live life without worry, I guess. Okay, it gets really complicated with all service economies. When you have like doctors, lawyers, like if I was a doctor during this time, I would not be happy with making the same amount of money as, you know, a teacher who gets to stay at home, even though she's working, she gets to stay at home all day. Yeah, it's just, there's complications in here. So that's what I meant by like varying degrees of capitalism are practiced all across the globe, because there are socialist aspects that governments can adopt as well. So the government can be in control of certain things, but for the most part, private or products production are mostly owned by private individuals. So here's a good example of it. So in America, we have aspects of socialism. So before I go into explaining that, I want you guys to, I'm going to read the political cartoon, and I want you to tell me or think about if this is a positive or negative depiction of socialism. So it says, it's the end of the world as we know it, again. And this is a brief history of socialist plots to end American way of life. So in 1790, public schools, that's socialism, meaning the government pays for the schools, right? Every person in America gets to go to school for free, right? So that's an aspect of socialism. Meaning the government owns the production, right? I'm paid by the government, the school is built by the government, and you all, in some way or some form, you know, go and get those services. It's a social welfare program. Public water system, and that's socialism in 1808. Public highways in 1842, that's socialism. By the way, in the East Coast, there are some highways that you still have to pay for to drive on. Not all of them were public. In 1905, public parks, socialism. And then even today, this is like a big argument today, especially right now, public health care. Okay, it's called universal or Medicaid for all sometimes, or universal health care. That's all public health care. A lot of people call that socialism. So there's a lot, this is like, it doesn't subscribe to our way of life, right? So there's a lot of fear mongering in regards to what is socialism. This is just a funny little thing to explain it. So it's like capitalism described by capitalists. Both got guns, both got money. Capitalism described by socialists. So the blue is a socialist, and the capitalist is in the red with the gun and the money. Socialism described by socialist. Everybody's blue, everybody's equal, everybody's got money. And then socialism described by capitalists. The person has money, but the government is the person in the red. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like dictatorship, controlling the person, the blue person with money. All right, so Karl Marx is the kind of seen as like the founder of socialism, or the term. So communism is the government and economic system. It's hard to explain, but they're basic. For your information, communism and socialism are the same thing. Okay, so Karl Marx is the founder of communism. He detested capitalism and colonial expansion. He grew up in 1818 and 1883, and he saw the disgusting living conditions and working conditions in the factories of and so he was he was a college student sitting in a bar talking with all his friends about why is the world the way it is and yada yada yada. Yeah, that's Karl Marx. Like, he's just like all of us trying to figure this shit out, right? And he came to the conclusion that he believed that poor workers needed a violent revolution to gain control of the economy and the means of production. He wrote the Communist Manifesto, probably one of the best histories ever written. It's like 25 pages. Go get it. Read it. It's amazing. The Communist Manifesto in 1848 described communism. Basically, it's workers collectively will own all the property and means of production. Therefore, like, let's say I'm a business and I hire laborers and I make all the money and then I pay them some salary. Okay. In this scenario, the workers collectively own the company and they split all the money equally. They also share equally all the resources in society. So this idea of this communist government would be a government without social classes. Higher class, elite class, middle class, lower class, everybody would be equal. And then also, a lot of people argue it eliminates racism and a lot of the issues in regards to lower class struggles that we see in America or in capitalist societies. So these ideas were largely rejected until the 20th century, of the first communist revolutions around that time. One of the really good quotes he has is, "Workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains." So Marx was a philosopher first, by the way. He did not create the government, the Russian government. He did not create communism. He was a philosopher. He wrote a history book, and he promoted workers' rights, and he promoted a better world. He always said that it would never work. The whole system of communism would never work unless everybody changed their hearts. Like, we have to think less independently, but more communally, and it would never work. And he was right, because it didn't work. But basically, if you ever read the Communist Manifesto, it's essentially, he paints all of world history as a struggle between the haves, the oppressors, and the have-nots, the oppressed. The history of every society in the world is a class struggle. And that's basically true. You have people in power, kings, you have pharaohs, you have emperors, and these are all people who are trying to tell the lower class people how to live their lives, what they want, and then eventually those people don't like it and they overthrow them. It's kind of true, even today, right? We're gonna skip that stuff. Okay, so Marx was an atheist. He detested religion because in part he believed it dulled people's reactions to the cruelty and unfairness of life. He is famously quoting religion as the opiate of the masses. Things that Karl Marx hates. He hates capitalism, hates imperialism, hates private property, hates rich people, hates nationalism, countries, and Christianity. All right, so here is this, I love this. So basically, for a capitalist market, free market society, this is on the left side, you're gonna see the wealth, how much growth in wealth you are expected between the upper, middle, and lower class, and how much over time. So watch. As you guys can already see, the upper class moves up, but there are up and downs. The market, as of right now, fluctuates, right? We're going through one right now. Middle class goes up and down, but the upper and middle class pretty much keep going up, even though it fluctuates. And the lower class can it can go up a little bit, and but it can also lose. So Overall, capitalism is very productive, but it can be volatile, and that shows through the wiggly lines. Over time, the rich get much richer, the middle class also gains wealth, the lower classes tends to stagnate or become worse off. So here's the same trajectory, but for communism. View. All right, as you guys can see, they're all about the same, right? And then they just fall off from the very bottom all of a sudden. So communism strives to create one class by seizing the wealthy and middle class money. However, over time, the system lacks productivity, and soon everybody is poor. Basically, like I kind of said in the scenario before, if everybody's being paid the same amount but working different types of jobs, people stop working, and this can lead to starvation, vast control. The government isn't good at running things. I mean, look at public education. I'm just saying that sometimes corporations are better at it because they have that profit incentive, right? And these governments don't. And they don't have competition either. Oops, sorry. Okay, so economic theories that we looked over just now. And I think this is the last one for this lecture. So economic theory, so economic philosophers. So you have Karl Marx on the left and, on the left, and you have Adam Smith on the right. Where would the USA today fall on this number line and why? Would we be all the way at 5, full capitalist, be in between, maybe more communist? What would you say? And there'll be one more lecture after this for this week, sorry.